Enough? Essential? Expensive? There's a lot of speculation as to what the E stands for with the brand new iPhone 16e.
So we're going from 3 cameras on the iPhone 16 Pro all the way down to 1 camera on the iPhone 16e. So I just have one question. Is this camera good enough?
So no ultra wide and no telephoto. It is only a 1x lens that we get here. Importantly as well though, it is a much smaller sensor than is found on the iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro 1x. So in theory, it's actually a lower quality camera as well than those devices.
So this phone obviously comes with compromises, and there are things missing from its camera system. First of all, of course, no ultra wide. Second, no telephoto. You only have that 1x and 2x digital crop. Third is there is no native RAW shooting, so you can't shoot RAW photos on this device without the use of third-party apps. You cannot shoot Apple ProRes log, that is reserved still for the Pro line of phones. There's no cinematic mode for video, there is no action mode available on this camera, and very sadly there is no macro camera at all on the iPhone 16e. So all of that is missing and the phone still costs $599, but it is not all doom and gloom.
As discussed, we have one 48 megapixel sensor here. You can shoot at 24 megapixels, you can bin this down to 12 megapixels if you prefer, or you actually have the option to shoot full resolution 48 megapixel here, which is really, really nice. Of course, you also get the option to digitally crop in to this 1x, resulting in essentially a 2x digital crop, but it is a bit more like a true readout. And the results are strong. I would say they're decent. I think due to the restriction in sensor size, when you're shooting in decent light situations, Apple is able to use its software to really maximize the images that you get out of this camera. Colors pop, things are vibrant, you get a nice amount of detail, especially if you shoot in a 24 megapixel format bin down from that 48. My biggest complaint personally is the lack of enhanced stabilization with this camera basically can result in sometimes mushy photos, which means the photos and the camera can be a little bit inconsistent. Let's actually throw up some comparisons here between the iPhone 16 Pro and the 1X on the 16e. I think this is a really good way to visualize the quality of this lens. You can basically see in decently lit situations, there's not that much to choose between. One of the things that certainly is noticeable when we talk about that sensor size reduction is the difference in fall off. So you can see between these images here, the iPhone 16 Pro is far blurrier in terms of the background, the focus roll off compared to the 16e. You're just not able to get as much natural depth of field in your images due to the physically smaller sensor size. The only other camera on that iPhone 16e is of course the front-facing camera, and you guys have already seen the front-facing video that I shot at the start. I actually think this is really nice, so definitely when there's not as much movement in the frame, things are looking great. General selfies will be absolutely fine. The only thing I would just be aware of with this camera is when you introduce harder situations, for instance like tougher dynamic range situations like this, and also then night selfies the phone is really gonna struggle just because of the camera quality. One of the ways that the iPhone continues to create such great images across their lines of phones is the stabilization. And the stabilization systems are basically used in every aspect of the computational photography stack. Basically, by using the stabilization, it allows Apple to stack images together and basically create a much better photo than if there was no good stabilization active. With the iPhone 16e, because we're using an older sensor, there's no sensor stabilization shift here on this phone, and that basically is going to have an impact in every aspect of the photo and video is taken with this device. I think personally this is most noticeable in video. You're not getting really bad stabilization here, but you can tell that the amount of detail that the phone is able to retain in video mode is significantly less than with a more expensive iPhone that is able to use sensor shift stabilization. So one of the biggest complaints about the iPhone 16e is that Apple have seemingly removed pretty crucial functionality. Obviously we've talked about that when it comes to the cameras, but something personally I'm very sad to see omitted, and I know a lot of other people are, is the removal of MagSafe. Now you can actually use wireless charging on the iPhone 16e, it just lacks the magnets to actually attach via the MagSafe connection. There is a way around this though, and it's actually to use a MagSafe compatible case like the one from the sponsor of this video, ESR. So this is the Halo Lock Cyber
Fiber Series Tough case, and as you can see, it has MagSafe compatibility built in. This means you're still going to be able to use your MagSafe chargers, your MagSafe connections, anything like that that uses MagSafe to your phone. You can see that this case is built with protection in mind. It's actually going to withstand drops up to 23 foot. So I guess there's only one way to test that out. All right, so here's the phone. Sheesh. So, as you can see, that is a perfect iPhone. If you're looking for something a little bit more minimal, however, you could go for something like the Halo Lock Classic case. You can see that this is way more minimal, yet still nice and protective, and of course with MagSafe built in. My personal favorite though is the screen protector system that ESR use. This is the easiest way I've ever personally used to install a screen protector on your device, as I'm sure you guys know how much of a nightmare this can be. You just give your phone a wipe down like this, you put it inside the applicator, pull the tab out, and you have a tempered glass screen protector applied to your phone with no bubbles. So thank you to ESR for sponsoring this video. You can check out their iPhone E series cases down below. Let's get back to the cameras. Okay, so let's talk about low light, and I've purposefully started with video here because I think this is the best illustration of the sensor sizes. So I'm comparing this again as a reference point to the iPhone 16 Pro. I'm not suggesting that the 16e should be competing. I'm just really showing you how much more light is available to the iPhone 16 Pro than the iPhone 16e. As you can see, stuff is visible on the 16 Pro, whereas it's pretty much just not. Only the actual illuminated sections are even showing up in the 16e here. And then in regard to low light photography, it's actually fairly decent. I would say passable. And I think that really stands to reason with a lot of the iPhone 16e photography. It's basically just passable. On static subjects, photos are gonna look decent. When a subject is moving, like in this image here, I basically purposefully didn't stand completely still. You can see that the image just falls apart. I did just want to finish on one comparison. This is between the iPhone 16 Pro and again the 16e. You can just see how much more detail is retained in the 16 Pro image. So I think it's probably time to answer that question. Does the iPhone 16e camera suck? And I think the answer is maybe. I think overall, if you are buying this phone, you're probably not that bothered about having the best camera on your iPhone. You're probably more interested in having an iPhone that has a camera. With that said though, $599 for a phone with only a 1x lens, no ultra wide, definitely no telephoto is starting to sound very, very expensive. If you compare it, for instance, to maybe Google's line of A series phones, those all come with ultra wide. The new Nothing 3A Pro is coming with a telephoto and an ultra wide at literally less than this price. And that's sort of what I mean. If the camera is a main focus for you and your phone, this is not the iPhone for you. Most iPhones are exceptional phones with exceptional cameras. This is an exceptional phone with just a passable camera.